¿Qué pasa, my beautiful people? Happy, terrific Thursday. Otro día tan magnífico que estamos aquí en Hoy en Día TV. We have another amazing episode as per usual because our goal is to what? Motivate, enlighten, inspire, educate, and entertain you, the viewer and listener, with each and every episode. And I'm going to bring on my terrific co-hosts. We have Miss Ciandra, the actionist. Welcome to Hoy en Día TV. And Miss Nadine Barton, author and entrepreneur. Welcome.
Hey, ladies. Good evening.
Happy terrific Thursday.
Yes, we made it another day, one day closer, right? We're getting closer to the weekend. So it's amazing here in North Carolina. It's a little gloomy outside. It was raining today, but we made it through. So I'm happy for the rain. The flowers are beginning to bloom. And of course, all the pollen is out and allergies too.
That part right there, allergies. Nadine, how is it in the good old Georgia?
We have a freeze warning here today. Can you believe it? It was like in the 70s 2 days ago. It's crazy.
You said you have a freeze warning right now in Atlanta?
It's freezing right now. It's cold.
What's the temperature?
It's about in the 40s, but it's supposed to drop like later on. It was really cold earlier.
Really?
I'm just over this weather. Just the sunshine.
I'm convinced somebody's messing again with the HAARP, HAARP machine. I don't know if y'all remember me mentioning that a couple episodes ago, but if you all don't know what that is, viewers and listeners, look up, Google HAARP. It is a machine that is a weather manipulator, and it's based out of Alaska. So just a heads up about that.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? Like
they manipulate the weather.
Yeah, it's amazing how advanced technology is, but it also, you know, like, why do we need to manipulate the weather? I mean, it's crazy. It's beyond me. And I've seen it. They got some clips out there online. You can like check it out and you can kind of see how they do it. I'm just like, this is beyond me. So it's like, is it really a sunny day today? Was it really, gloom and, cloudy and rain? Like, we got some pseudo weather here, some fake weather going on, y'all.
Yesterday was 80, right? 80 and sunny and gorgeous. I wasn't complaining. And then today's like gloomy and dreary and it dropped down 10 degrees and rainy. And I'm like, what in the world is going on here?
What is going on?
I had a debate with someone about that, I said, they're manipulating the weather. They're like, no, it's God doing. And I believe in God. I love God. But I know that they have to be, they have to know that there are people out there manipulating the weather.
I will say this. So if you notice, there are patterns, like what happened with Helene, right? And how it impacted North Carolina, especially in the western part, and even what happened in Puerto Rico, or even in the other neighboring islands that in different parts of the state. Like I believe Texas was impacted several years ago with another hurricane. So my theory, and I'm sure I could be wrong, and let me know your thoughts about this, but with all the forces that be and people are trying to be in control and in power and what have you, they're finding ways to call it a natural disaster. But in essence, they're finding ways to either decrease a population or affect a certain population so that it can be codependent on more of the government and other extra stuff that they may not be dependent on. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, you're tracking on that. And the sad thing is that people think that this earth is too small to house all the people, right? That's a lie, first and foremost. Right? God created this entire planet and he knew how many people was going to be on this planet. He didn't run out of space on planet Earth for people. There are parts of this world that we haven't even explored, that we haven't even, it's the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. But that is really interesting that you say that. I know a lot of people will probably think like, oh, you guys are probably some conspiracy theorists and thinking, but it's like, no, this stuff is true. It's not far-fetched, right? You see a lot of these things that happens like, in media and TV and all of these things. And now you see in our real world today that these things are actually happening. And the thing that disheartens me is that mankind, people like you and me, human beings, right? Flesh and blood. Okay. Thank God for us. But we think that we are God, and we have to remember that we are finite individuals. Like, we're finite. You know, he is infinite. So he sees all, he knows all, and we only know a little picture of it, right? So we typically have on blinders, we typically have blind spots that we miss, right? And so we're not, though we try to be objective, though we try to be non-biased, so we try to be all these things, we're not. We're human. We're fallible. We were born imperfect, right? So I just think that people really need to just kind of step back. Truly, you know, we're all trying to control everyone. That's what it's about. It's about control. At the end of the day, it's bigger than money, right? I mean, money's there, but it's really truly about control. And if you can control, right, a person, right, well, then you win. Because if you can control people, think about it. They're going to do whatever you want them to do. They're going to go wherever you want them to go, all of that kind of stuff. So it's about taking away your choice, making you think you have a choice, but they really kind of taken away your choice. So I think we have to be open about these things and not shut people down, you know, when we're talking about this kind of stuff, but to have that open and candid conversation. That's what I like about Oyendia TV, is that we can have those differences of opinions and, you know, have different beliefs and thoughts, right? And just kind of bring it all to the table and just kind of mull through it, right? And just kind of just open up our minds to be able to understand a lot of these things that's happening. But I just think it's really, really sad. I'm one of those people is like, you know, God made us, he provides for us. And so we don't need to try to control the population. You see what I'm saying? If you think about it, it's just really history repeating itself. I mean, you think of Auschwitz and all of that stuff, you know, when the Jews were being killed because they thought, oh, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing, right, with that. And so it's just someone trying to play God, and they are not God, and they need to stop. Okay, just stop it. That's you. Stop. Shame on you. Stop.
They're not gonna stop. But what about, it's just yesterday, I posted on my story about somebody had a video. He was talking about the toxins now in simply orange juice, the Lay's potato chips, and our food, basically. So what are they doing? Is that really part of population control? Girl Scout cookies. I just saw that last week. They're talking about all the things that are in Girl Scout cookies.
That's scary.
I know.
Have you heard about the Girl Scout cookies?
Yeah,
No.
my neighbors right across. You know, I was a Girl Scout.
From your neighbor.
Yeah, I was a Girl Scout. Everything, you know, on my honor, I will try. It's a whole oath that we do. So, you know, with the Girl Scouts. And I know there's poisons in everything. You got to read the labels. Even the labels are misleading. You know, you really just got to kind of dig in. You really just need to have just basic plain language. If it's milk, it just needs to say from a cow, milk. You know what I'm saying? Moo.
Hey, that part. But Sandra and Nadine, you both make really, really good and valid points. And these are things that are out here for the people to absorb and interpret in the way that they feel, right, is appropriate for them. But it's here. We are receiving the information. If we're choosing not to acknowledge or accept it or still pretend it's fake, then that's on you, right? But for me, I've already witnessed it. Like, for example, remember back in the 80s and 90s when we watched Terminator? Right. We're talking about robots and all that. And fast forward to what? Now, what are we dealing with? We have AI, we have robots and all this other stuff, right? Also talking about the Jetsons back in the 60s, flying cars. Now, if you look, there's flying cars. I mean, they don't fly too high, but they fly low, you know. So a lot of what we're watching on TV, that's the truth. Like, I believe that is the truth.
I believe it too.
Honey says, I echo his words. People don't have imagination out here. They're going off of what they saw from somewhere and something, and then they put in a movie or a film or a script or what have you. And now here it is for our entertainment, considered sci-fi. But is it really sci-fi? Because, honey, you are not fooling me. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Me, no, you are not fooling me.
What about what about the theory that they have on The Simpsons, that everything they do on The Simpsons, it comes to life? Like, I mean, come on now.
I heard about that, saw that, seen some of the stuff. You're like, all these subliminal messages, all these hidden things, even in cartoons, they target our children. We don't even know. And this stuff is kind of written on your subconscious. And sometimes you begin to wonder why you're thinking certain things, talking a certain way, acting a certain way, because it's programming. Look, television is to tell a vision. So whose vision is it really portraying on the big screen, right? You got to think about it.
You nailed it. Okay. You nailed it right there, girl. You nailed it.
Okay. Is it our vision or not. See, there you go. That right there. Absolutely. It's to tell a vision. And it's either you're going to allow them to tell, them, the vision that they want you to have, or you're going to have to sit back, right, and write the vision and make it plain and have a vision for yourself. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, that's all good. I know y'all out there, right, in internet land, right here on the show tonight. I know y'all know what we're talking about. And I know you've thought about some of these things. Maybe you've been too afraid to even kind of share or say some of these things. But what we're saying is real. No one's here to hoodwink you or bamboozle you. Not here. Not on OMD. We're not doing that.
Not us. No. We ain't got time for the shenanigans. We do our best to speak the truth here with our references and resources and what have you, because that's what we are all professionals. We're all professional women. We keep it real. We keep it 100. And for those who like it, great. For those who don't, I'm sorry. That's just, it is what it is, right? And so with that in mind, ladies, we have our visiting co-host Antoine in the building. I'm going to bring him on to shed some light on some of the things that we've been talking about. Welcome, Antoine.
How y'all doing?
Hey.
Well, yeah, I got a different setup. I had a different setup. I had to set something up different. So I'm doing this on my couch. And am I moving? How am I looking?
You're looking good.
All right.
A little lagged, but it's okay. We see you.
Okay. So yeah, I've been seeing y'all been cooking. Y'all been cooking. What y'all been talking about, but I can definitely dive in on a lot of what y'all was talking about. Where y'all left off at, the last thing y'all was talking about, I wanted to get in on that.
So we talked about the television. Yeah, we talked about TV, The Simpsons, subliminal messages, the heart machine, weather manipulator. We talked about several things within the last 14 minutes.
Yeah. So when y'all talking about them doing predictive programming, they do that for a reason, and the reason why they do that is they have to basically try to escape karma. So for them to be able to get away and do these things that they do to us, they have to tell us what they're doing. So it's basically like, you can't say we ain't told you. You see what I'm saying? So everything that stuff that be happening on The Simpsons, it be real. It's predictive because they already know what they're gonna do. See, these people think in the future. We tend to think in the now. So we have to think the same way they're thinking. So that's why they're always able to predict things, because they know what they already have in their playbook, and they have to tell you these things. So that's why it plays out in the Terminator, as you mentioned. They told us years ago what they were going to be doing, and that with that way they can escape karma. But thing is, that karmic law is always in full effect. So a lot of stuff is starting to turn around and bite them in the behind. So even with the heart machine, they've been doing that for a minute. Yeah, they've been manipulating the weather for a while. Yeah. So like with me, I don't conspiracy theories usually tend to be true. That's why they came up with that term. That's a way to kind of make people look like a plant in this kind of they listen, these people be a million steps ahead of us. The only thing about it is now we're in the information age, and there's no way you should know these things, because you can find it out like that. But yeah, they doing all that. Everything y'all talking about, they doing that. Our food. If you're not eating, if you're not raising this, if you're not raising it or growing that food yourself, you pretty much eating poison. When you think about who buying up all the land, Bill Gates got a lot of the land. Why? What do you want with all that land? What do you need it for?
Right. You're gonna raise your own food.
Yeah. That's what we used to do though. Yeah, I know. I'm from Georgia. My people. We had gardens, and I mean, we cultivated this land. We know how to grow food, and we've been doing that. We got away from it, and now we depending on their grocery store. But just as long as you go into that grocery store, you got aisles full of poison, then you got a pharmacy in there to go get your medicine that they treat you for, after you
and pharmacy, when you think of the word pharmakia, when you break it down, there's nothing good that comes from that, right? It's all poison. when you really think about it. But I wanted to say something. You say they've been telling us this for years, and you're absolutely right. You know, they told us because Yessie, you mentioned it earlier about Terminator. We were just watching Total Recall and all of that with our young guys, because it's like let's show you some of the movies that we saw, you know, growing up and stuff. And that was one of the things. And so they told us, Antoine, they said, "I'll be back," right?
I love it. Yes.
AI is here, baby. AI was then. AI is now. It's stronger. It's, you know, it's growing. So yeah, I'll be
I always
back.
love your analogies. You would just be hitting it right on the head. I'll be back, and they're back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they ain't went nowhere. You know, the thing about AI is it ain't going nowhere. And as much as, you know, we try to fight against it, we pretty much got to join in with it, utilize it, because it's not going anywhere. It ain't going nowhere, and it's only getting smarter. You know what I'm saying? They're basically taking our intelligence and our likeness and put it into robots, basically. You know what I'm saying? And once they start feeling and doing, you know, they start thinking like us. Of course, what they're gonna do? They're gonna be like, you know what? We don't need them no more. And they're already doing that. There's a lot of stories of them doing that now. You know, so with my children, what I tell my kids is, you know, you guys need to be learning how to code. You need to be learning how to work with AI, because that's your future. Because you ain't, I mean, at this point, when we look at their future, what are their jobs gonna look like? They already got the robot called Flippy that's flipping burgers. You know, when you go into McDonald's,
I heard about that.
Yeah. And if you go into McDonald's now, which I never go in that place, but if you do, you'll notice that they have kiosks. So now you really ain't dealing with nobody at the counter. They just bring the food. Now, once they replace them with Flippy in the back, they don't need them no more. And those are the jobs that our kids get. So you know, we got to really prepare them for what's happening. Being aware is one of our strongest tools. You know, so when we get to talking about these things and people get to be like, oh, y'all, you know, y'all got on the tinfoil kufi, y'all got, you know, tinfoil hat and all that. Listen, they be doing all this stuff, man. We can sit around. These people got think tanks. They sit around and plot ways to impact your life every day.
Yep.
While you sit around, you party and everything, they spending money and time and resources, thinking of ways to impact your life and your future and to control it. I heard you guys talking about control earlier. Yeah.
Right.
And you think about it, it's all marketing, because even when you look, it's the science of everything. So we know that colors, they convey a certain meaning and a message. When you're shopping in your favorite grocery store, favorite clothing store at the mall, there's certain music that's playing. So there's always, right, a program. You're always being programmed. You got to recognize and realize that you're being programmed, so that way you can deprogram. You know what I'm saying? And how you deprogram. Yeah. So how you deprogram, because, you know, we don't want, you know, so I'm this person, right? So, you know, you'll listen to the news, you hear all the things that's going on. You're like, what do we do? What do we do? So I'm a solutionist, right? I'm all about finding a solution. And it's not difficult. It's very basic. It's been there from the very primitive model. And how you deprogram, how you get past and so let me give you the answer, okay? So daily, this is in the scriptures, right? The Holy Scriptures. And it says you have to renew your mind daily, right? So you really truly got to think about what you're thinking about. You really got to kind of filter out and say, okay, is this the voice of the world, or is this my own voice and my own thoughts, or is this now the voice of God? And a lot of people don't really know how to hear and filter out the different voices. And so we'll take in everything that's being on the televisions. We'll take in everything that's being on the radios and the next trending topic and the hot things that people are doing. And we want to get on board with that. So we're really getting away from our true identity. Everybody wants to be like everybody else. Everybody wants to fit in and all of that stuff. But when we can truly step away from all of that noise, right, and say that I'm okay with being who I am and how I am, okay, deprogram, get myself away, because it's really good to be in those just quiet time in your home, right? Just quiet time. Listen to music without words. Listen to instrumental kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying? To get all of that out so you can just truly, truly think. When you get off of social media and do like a detox, you're like a completely new person because your brain is always wired. I went to the dentist this week to get a cleaning, and they say, hey, you're grinding your teeth. And I'm like, what? No one in all my years of living, I'm only 21, okay? But in all my years of living, right, they said that no one's ever told me that. And so now they're finding that I'm kind of grinding my teeth a bit. And I'm like, well, why is that? Why do we grind our teeth? And being in the mindset like of, physical therapy is like my background. So typically for women, we carry a lot of tension in our shoulders. So we'll typically kind of hike our shoulders and we don't even know it. When you do it subconsciously. And sometimes it can stay like that for hours and hours and hours. And then you're like, man, I got a headache. Oh, my shoulder. And then you'll kind of realize, oh, wow. So you'll kind of begin to do some shoulder shrugs to kind of reset. So in my mind, that's how I thought about it with the teeth grinding. It's because your mind isn't turning off. Nadine, you can attest to this because you talked about times when you're sleeping and you're not really rested, or your mind's just going, or you can't even fall asleep. It's like insomnia. And so see, and so that grinding subconscious is because your mind's not turning off and your body's trying to find a way to relax. And so then therefore, could bring, TMJ issues and all these types of things. So you got to learn how to pull back, to turn off the noise, to step away from it all, being out in nature, just sitting outside your house, y'all, just putting your feet on the ground, in the grass, to ground yourself.
Oh man, it
brings so much good energy. Yeah, it grounds yourself. Yeah, just land, just do that. Just do that. Looking not directly at the sun. People say, "Oh, the sun is so bad for you." The sun is not bad for us.
The sun is great, especially for Black folks. Come on now.
We need that.
Yes.
Yeah, we need that. We need
my
that.
friend Carol about that about being vitamin D deficiency and iron and all that stuff. But it's definitely true because right now we need the sun. I wish I was on the
This melanin activates in the sun. We're walking around. This melanin. This is pure magic. You hear me? This is pure magic. We are connected with you. The same thing that makes that universe black, we walking around with it. In fact, y'all who watching, Google the price of melanin per ounce. Melanin is the most expensive commodity on the planet. It's more than gold, right? We walking around with it in our body.
Antoine, you're hitting a whole different topic because that's one of the reasons why they're having a whole bunch of trafficking, because they want that melanin.
They want that melanin. Our organs are superior. Everything about us is superior. See, they don't want you to know that. But I'm gonna cook and I'm gonna let you know that. You walking around and you are worth so much, you worth so much money with this melanin. This is something that we have naturally. We have it naturally. So imagine the type of things that we can do when we tap into this melanin and know what we can actually really do. See, they know, but we don't be knowing. But I'm that dude that's gonna tell you. So you have to start digging into it. You walking around with this melanin, you better find out what you're doing with this magic you walking around with. That's real spill. I'm ready to cook on that, but y'all go ahead, man.
Liquid gold, we got liquid gold, y'all.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up.
S&P. We gonna be on
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because that's a beautiful segue into our beautiful guest that we have. She's also melanated. She's a melanated, strong woman. And she is actually, so in honor of our Women's History Month, we are excited to welcome Narkie Nartey, a dynamic leader, strategist, advocate dedicated to transforming communities through education, innovation, and design. As the founder and CEO of Wakaboomee program, which is a 501c3, she has built that provides STEAM, wellness, and entrepreneurship education to underserved pre-K and K-12 students across North Carolina. And under her leadership, Wakaboomee bridges digital divide, ensuring that every child, regardless of their background, has access to the tools needed for success. And also her commitment to the community impact extends beyond education. So she serves as a program manager for the Greater Durham Black Chamber of Commerce, amplifying Black-owned businesses and fostering economic growth through strategic initiatives. She's made history as the first Black female president of the RTP Rotary Club from 2022 through 2023, where she led projects that drive lasting change both locally and globally. Additionally, she plays key role in shaping public spaces and programs as a member of the Town of Morrisville Parks and Recreational Cultural Resources Advisory Committee and emerging leaders through the DTI and Schema mentorship program at North Carolina State University. She also serves on the board of advisors at EdTech Unite, supporting efforts to bring STEM education to diverse communities. And now, beyond her nonprofit and community leadership, Narkie is an integral part of the Andre Johnson Architects team, a prestigious firm known for its innovative, human-centered, and environmentally responsible design. And there's just so much more of this lovely lady, but I'm going to let her kind of tell us a little bit more. So without further ado, welcome to Oyandia TV, Narkie Nartey.
Hi, I'm Narkie Nartey. I had to fix it for my dad.
Oh my God, I apologize.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. You guys are so amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. So I've said a lot about who you are, but how would you describe yourself? And how would you describe yourself? Because I said a lot.
I would say that I am the person behind a green mascot that people see all the time. It's that thing. And so I feel like they don't understand what that is, but I'm the woman behind it. So I would say I'm someone who's really vested in seeing our communities thrive through education. And I see the power of transformative education that unites people from all different backgrounds. So I'm just the person behind that green guy, Wakaboomee.
That's beautiful. When did you identify that there was an opportunity for Wakaboomee to be started? Like, how did you get inspired to start this 501c3?
Okay, well, I wrote a children's book about a green creature that called Wakaboomee, and I read it to my daughter like every night. Oh, she loved it as a 5-year-old. And so I said, I want to publish this book, put some money and some thought into this and see what it takes me. But I feel like you're a biased little kid and you just like mommy's work. So I'm going to go to a Title I school and read volunteer the book at this after school program. I did that, and it was like an eye opener for me. For one, the kids were very critical. They're like, "What? Why do you talk like that? Where are you from? Why are you wearing those kind of shoes?" It was a Title I. It was a very cultural school. It was a Black school. And I needed to see that because my daughter, she was going to a school that was predominantly Indian community. And so I needed to just see a different response to the book. And what I saw was it held their attention. So it didn't matter race. It didn't matter anything like that. The book held the attention of kindergartners and 5th graders. And that also let me see their curiosity, their imagination is still there. The screens, how COVID happened and everybody was all about video games and screens. Kids still had imagination. They still peered over at that book. They still had questions. They wanted to make their own book because they saw I made a book. And so that made me recognize that there is a space of time in after school programs from 4 to 6 where our children can be thriving with really transformative education, not just reading children's books, but bringing robotics, entrepreneurship, mindfulness, mental health types of topics for our kindergartners through 12th grade. And that's what Wakaboomee became. It started off with just being a book, but I ended up locking time with visionaries and individuals who really have a heart for serving the community, whether it's with their own craft of robotics or science or just sharing their story. We put our collaborative efforts together to bring a program for after school programs. And it has grown like just enormously, where there's corporate funding, there's corporations involved, there's communities involved, YMCAs, Boys and Girls Clubs. It's really grown overnight.
All right.
Congratulations. That's really awesome. Amazing.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I applaud that. I just had to say something, man. She was doing her thing. I applaud that. I love it.
Thank you. I felt like it was a bit of a run-on sentence, but you can, it's just a program that just evolved over time, and we literally bring in those who volunteer, have a story to share, a craft that they really believe in architecture. For instance, I work for a firm, and just being able to hear one story from art to architecture can inspire a fifth grader who's just somebody who's just always drawing cartoons. They can't necessarily see a space for them, but when you show someone who is now an architect and they used to be doodling and drawing cartoons just like them, then they suddenly see there, that could be me one day. And that's that representation, and that's what we need in our communities. We need that everywhere. We need that as people. So I'm very blown away by the amount of altruism that is still out there in the world because of Wakaboomee. I'm seeing it just, come in front of my face all the time, where people just want to give back, is what I'm trying to say.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That is beautiful. And so with your bio, there was a lot more that I shared that you do. So tell us a little bit more about the other responsibilities and opportunities that you have currently.
Well, right now I try to just get my feet wet in different things that I'm not familiar with. Architecture was one, but I really wanted to get to know different chambers. So being involved with the Black Chamber of Commerce has really opened my eyes to nonprofits and small businesses and the needs that they have, and how chambers are there to support them, to promote them. And so that has really been an eye opener for me, to learn the different roles that the chambers that every municipality has. We all have these chambers, but we don't always understand what they do and how they can support us. And so being involved in the community has allowed me to see the resources that we all have to get our visions off the ground. This 501c3 is literally something that started in my backyard. It started off as a book, but I have been able to utilize the resources that chambers provide to be able to showcase the work to the community and to engage the community and get support. So I'm grateful to be able to have different chambers and different organizations to get involved in. So I would advise all of us, the best way to fix things, and we see the things on the news that we're so aggravated about, but the best way to really have a part in making it stop or seeing that things are better is to get involved. And we can get involved in any way, shape, or form, even if it is volunteering time with the 501c3. It all counts. It all helps.
Can I build with this?
Of course, go for it. Yeah.
Listen, I want to build on that, because you said getting involved. Listen, I'm gonna tell you something real quick. I got to go old school with it. Michael Jackson told us in the 80s, he said, "I'm starting with the man in the mirror." Every time I hear that song is crazy, right?
Yeah.
When you're talking about getting involved, that's us being held accountable. You're dealing with yourself. A lot of the problems that we have is because don't nobody like to get in that mirror. You got to get in that mirror and start working on you, right? When you start working on yourself internally, that means you can assess your issues that you have. Once you start doing that, you pass that around. So what you're doing is, that's basically what you're doing with the 501c3. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, we're just saying, listen, we tired. We don't want to depend on nobody else. We're gonna look at ourselves and see what we can do and start to apply it. When you start saying these things, you think it first, say it, then do it. And that thing spread like wildfire. You know what I mean? So I applaud you. I commend you. I commend all of you beautiful ladies for being who you are. I'm glad to have you on here, and I'm glad to be a part of it. But when you were saying that right there, that's right up my alley, because it sounds like self accountability, and I'm really big on that. I think that if the world will definitely be a better place if everybody was to get in that mirror and start bringing what's inward outward. You know what I mean? And stop pointing that finger. Get to work. Let's do it. Let's do what we're doing right now. We build it. So I just wanted to build on what she was talking about and congratulate you on being amazing at what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. I was going to just tell you that one thing about the Wakaboomee program that builds off of what you just said, that is such a huge part of the program, is mindfulness. Since COVID, we were around since 2016, but one of the things that stayed consistent was our free mindfulness sessions that we offer to K-5 students on Wednesdays. And that was a platform where kids were able to get on a Zoom call and they speak to a licensed therapist about stress, anxiety, depression,
Wow.
bullying, racism. These were topics that these kids were dealing with every day. And I was utilizing it myself because my daughter was going through different things. Our family was changing and going through a transition. And so I would be like, man, I'd be in carpool line and my kid says something that's just out of the way. And I'm like, I have no idea how to even respond to this. But can you please save this for mindfulness tomorrow with Dr. Janelle at 4:30 on that Zoom and bring it up and maybe see what that therapist and that, that platform says, because you
Right.
can make it generic enough so that you feel comfortable to bring up a topic. And do you know, it would be a topic that we would later discuss over dinner about how she's, brought it up, what the techniques were to deal with the problem. And it was helpful to our family. So the thing about Wakaboomee is I have seen how it can help families because it helped my own family. And I utilized it when I needed it the most during different transitions. So I just feel like we have to utilize the resources that we have. We have connections to therapists. We have connections to the best instructors at NC State University with robotics. I work with incredible, brilliant people, and they want to give back. So sometimes it's not about money, it's about utilizing what we have and creating spaces that allow us to organize ourselves, strategize, so that we can give the things that we have without an exorbitant price tag. It doesn't have to be that way. We can give things and we can utilize the companies, the corporations that are there to give out grants and give out sponsorships so that certain communities that would normally not experience certain things, they can experience it. So we have
Right.
to use the things that are in place sometimes to achieve what we want to achieve. I didn't mean to go on a tangent like that, but I was really moved by what you said. Sorry.
You better cook. You better cook. I'm here
No,
for
and
it.
I'm glad you brought that up because I agree. There are resources available. I think in my experience, from people, they're not always aware of how to find those resources or where to look. So do you happen to have some pointers or some helpful tips that can help people find the right tools and resources to help them out?
Well, I hate to sound like a commercial, but go to wakaboomers.com. I literally want to be that one-stop space. I want to look at Wakaboomee and know that that is the space that I can tell my daughter, well, go there. You know, you needed a tutor. They have free tutoring there. Well, go there. You know that you wanted to get that that scholarship. Weren't they showing the scholarships? We have so many people who want to give back to the community, and all we do is pile them together on that platform with at wakaboomers.com. Of course, it's just like you having connections. It's like having friends that you just know that you can count on. Wakaboomee has become this pay it forward kind of program where people who have piano lessons and want to just offer it up for 5 weeks to somebody who just had a love of playing the piano but never was able to. So there's always a way to be able to give back. And I want people to understand that Wakaboomee is the place to start to getting a lot of the things that we're looking for achieved.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Narkie, there's a gala in April, correct?
Yes, I just picked out my
Can
dress
you,
yesterday.
can you share more about that? And for people that are interested, where can they buy tickets?
Yes, please. We're on Eventbrite, and the gala is actually the 3rd year. So this is our 3rd year doing this. I'm so excited. We have a board of 10 that have been working so hard to make this an incredible event. The last year it was at the City Club Raleigh. This year will be at the Hilton in Durham, and the year before, the very first year, it was at the Grand Marquis. So they're always beautiful venues. The sponsoring corporation is Train Technologies. And so this is just a time that we celebrate. Yes, it's for Earth Day, but it's really for celebrating the sustainability of leaders like you, women who are doing everything that you can to uplift communities. That's huge. That is as much as gardening and sustaining our food, because we have to feel good as women in order to take care of our wives, to take care of our husbands, to take care of ourselves, our parents. So women, if we don't feel strong, if we don't feel like we are empowered, a lot of things fall to the wayside. So that's why we take this opportunity every year to bring together leaders. Well, the mayor will be there. So many different individuals who are doing different initiatives in their own right to sustain the planet, to sustain youth, and to bring innovation to our communities. And so we'll have a lot of scientists that will be, we have like 8 honorees, and I'm sitting actually next to some of the awards. They just came in the mail. So we have like all of these huge trophies and things. And, you know, it's exciting times, but it allows those who are doing the work to be recognized and to share their story of what they're doing. So we get all dressed up. It's a fancy night, and we talk about our vision, and everybody gets a chance who has, you know, put in the effort over the year to do incredible work and just talk about it. That's all it is. And we dance.
That sounds like so much fun, so beautiful. So I
Thank
have a
you.
couple of questions, but I'm going to actually spotlight my co-host because I don't want to take up all the questions. So Sandra, Nadine, or Antoine, any questions for Ms. Nartey?
Yes,
Thank you.
I do. I mean, impressive bio, impressive resume. I mean, I love everything that you're doing, especially for the children, you know. And Miss Cece there, she also wrote a children's book too. So I'm just gonna put her out there. But on another note, like you're an educator, right? How do you feel about, you know, literally today I saw this about what's going on with the shutdown of the DOE, the Department of Education.
All of this change in the administration it's like, I can't believe it's actually happening, but it is happening. So we have to get past the shock, recognize what's happening, but you will be shocked at the resilience of humans and how people come together, and you see the true character of individuals. I'll tell you this quick story. I graduated from NC State, and so every year a sociology class is paired up with our nonprofit to be like interns and support our nonprofit for a semester. But because of this changes in administration, do you know that that class was, they were told that they can drop the class even though they were paired with us, but because it's a DEI kind of class, it doesn't count towards their major. So the administration of the school said, you don't necessarily have to do the class. It won't go towards your major. But I mean, if you want to help that nonprofit, you can. Do you know those kids stuck around and they still wanted to help our nonprofit because they know that the work that we're doing, this is not a joke. There are groups of people who don't know anything about ChatGPT, that don't know anything about AI, and they live 20 minutes from our homes. And that's
Right.
because there is a divide. There is a divide with technology, and the people who have the great education, they're learning it first and they're superseding it so fast, and they're moving on to bigger and better things. And we were just trying to get our math and science tests and everything up to par. And we didn't even get the computers that year for the school. You know what I'm trying to say? We're lagging behind. If nonprofits like the Wakaboomee program don't stand up, we will have no one to bring them up. They're making administration rules so that we stop so much stuff that our kids need to just meet the mark. It is so heartbreaking to see. And the reason why it's heartbreaking for me is because I will drive to the schools and see it for myself. It's not like I'm watching the news. It's like I see the kids that are really on the floor playing with marbles and chalk and not farming 20 minutes down the road and studying DNA and strawberries like some other kids are. It's not fair. And we can't talk about how it's not fair anymore. The nonprofits are stepping up. If you go on LinkedIn, you will see a slew of them that are stepping up. We have to start putting 2 and 2 together, that our families need to pair up with nonprofits and get involved. And we're doing it. We get involved with Girl Scouts and things like that. But there's more community things that we can be exposing our children to, and that we as adults can get involved in to help the other families who need it more. Because we are leaders and we have to act like it.
Yeah, I want to kind of build on that too. I'm gonna just be honest with you, because my family, we from Georgia. Our history, we rooted here. I'm a Black American, and we're the ones who built this country, right?
That's right.
So with all the stuff that I love everything Trump doing, take it all away. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when we look at the numbers, we don't benefit. We're not benefiting. We're always at the bottom. We need an equal level playing field here. When we get to ourselves, we cook. There are Black towns underwater and burnt down all over this country. Seneca Village, Central Park in New York covers that. That was a Black town. Oscarville, which is under Lake Lanier. That's always, people always drowning. Those are Black towns. Of course, the most famous is Tulsa, Oklahoma. These are towns that we built ourselves when we were left alone. When we're left alone, we thrive. I don't even want to be around these people.
Oh.
Let me cook. So the thing is, if he gonna be breaking it down, let him tear it down, because he's tearing down their system. Tear it down. I promise you, and I'm talking to my people, we gonna be all right. Because everything these folk do, we've been dealing with this for centuries. I ain't scared of no racism. You can't scare me with that. You got to try something else now, because we built to deal with that. We've been fighting these people head on our soil, on this soil that we built. So when they get to decide, what everything Trump doing, bring it. Let's cook. Let's do it. Because when we stand alone, when we're not bothered, because we have to always be sabotaged. They always got to sabotage us because why? When you put us neck and neck on a level playing field, you can't compete with us. And you know who I'm talking to. You can't compete with us. So you got to have systems against us. But let them tear it down. Because listen, one thing about us, you let us cook on our own and we separate, we finna take off, and these folk know it. So whatever he doing, let him do it. Let him do it. He ain't doing nothing that we ain't ready and built for. We've been surviving all, and we gonna watch everybody else lose their mind. But we gonna be good. We in the best position we can ever be in right now. So let him do it. Because one thing, we ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like that you said that. I'm sorry. I like that you said that, Antoine, and with Narkie too. I think with everything that you said, and it was awesome about how the nonprofits are stepping up. There was one word that you said was community, and that's a big word for any race of people. I like a lot of the great things, honestly, that President Trump is doing, because what's happening is we're beginning to see things behind the scenes. Right. Eyes are really beginning to be open. The curtain, you know what I'm saying, is we can see the center stage. I mean, I'm not even sure if this was the first time in history, but we just witnessed here a few weeks ago where we saw the negotiations, right, on live TV, with President Zelensky and him and all of that. And I've never seen that done before. Not saying that it has been done, but typically those are things that are kind of done behind the scenes. And of course, we all have arguments about that. But the community coming back to the center is the community. And so we all have always stepped up, right? Whether we have been giving all the resources or not, when we come together as a community, right? That's when we're able to elevate. You mentioned that you've been working with the Chamber of Commerce and things of that nature. And I want to just, quick little tip out there is for the Chamber of Commerce, and even with the SBA, and there's other organizations out there as well. But if you didn't know, now you will know. With Chamber of Commerce, they have mentorship programs, and typically the mentorship programs that they have are free. Now, Chamber of Commerce does have memberships. They do have things that you do pay for, but the mentorship stuff is free. And these are people back in the community, right, giving of their time and their services. So say, for instance, you want to start a nonprofit or you want to start a franchise or something like that. They're going to put you with with somebody within that industry. That way you don't start at level 0, right? That way you can do an informational interview. That's the proper term for it. So that way you're asking, you're kind of picking their brains. So that way you start at level 10, right? Versus level 0. So it kind of gives you a head start. That way, one, you don't make the same mistakes or lose money like how they did. They can share those kinds of things with you, right? So that way it kind of puts you ahead. So just if you didn't know, the Chamber of Commerce in like all of your cities, they have one, right? So you can go there, you can check that out, and you can ask for the free resources. Also, the SBA, they do some of the same things for that as well. And I wanted to ask you about, you said it was Wakaboomee, Wakaboomers.com, was it? Okay.
Wakaboomers.com, yes.
Okay, where you're putting a lot of resources. So are the resources that's on your webpage for that, are they all, the people that's giving back, is all of that stuff free, or is it some of it like paid? Like, how does that work?
We have it set up where there are some things that are free and some things that are paid for. Like we have sessions that are maybe Spanish sessions for an after school program. That's going to be a fee, and you'll be able to book that and speak with that instructor. But we also have things that are consistently free. And that's mindfulness sessions that I told you about on Wednesdays, where a licensed therapist speaks to the K-5 students. And we even had another session for just teens, and those were on Monday. So these are things that we just consistently put out for the community to see, that they can just count on us. If they can't maybe afford the robotic sessions that are being offered at the community center, they know that they can get free tutoring on Tuesdays, that type of thing. We want to make sure that they have the resources. And if we can't do it, we certainly connect them to someone who can help them.
A network. I love that.
Wow, that's awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you so much.
So, Ms. Nartey, I will ask you this. People think success is easy, but you, out of all people, and we, out of all people, know that success is not easy, right? They just see the glitz and glamour after all the work, the sweat and tears and long hours are put in. So what keeps you motivated? What keeps you inspired to push forward, especially in those nights when you feel like just throwing in the towel because you're tired? Or do you ever feel that way? Because I know sometimes I feel that way. I don't know about you, but what keeps you motivated and keep going to with what you're doing?
I really, really believe in this. Like, I have seen it help families. I've seen it help my daughter. I have seen it make impacts. And so I guess when you see it and you're like, man, if I could really just focus on making it better here, it could even help even more people. And so that makes you just push on. And I don't want anything like just the imperfections, the idiosyncrasies of a human to ever stop it. I want it to be so consistent and helpful to the community that it really just has its space and its platform that is consistent for communities. So that pushes me on, because I know that this is something that is from our creator. I know this is the best of everyone. Anyone who brings something to the table with Wakaboomee, they're bringing it from their heart. They're bringing it because they believe in a good world, and they believe that things should be fair and just, and everyone should have access to education and opportunity. And that doesn't matter if they're Black, they're white, they're Indian, whoever comes into the organization, that is their core value. That is their character. That is what they want to see. And so that is why this thing keeps thriving and growing, because that's something that is in the human, that's in the human spirit. And so we can do this. Like he said there, we can do this. We're going to thrive. We're going to win. We just have to strategize. We have to document. We have to write down everything that we want to do, manifest it. We have to be organized. We have to be on time. We have to network. We have to talk to people that we would never talk to in order to get perspective. And we have to rely on our creator. That is so important. We can't do any of this without the one who brought us here. We have to rely in some form or fashion to the one who created us and say thank you for as far as we've gotten. Once we say thank you, things will start to fall in our laps. You will see, and it will happen even for me. The more thankful and more gratitude that I express, thankfulness I express, I see so much happiness and joy in my own life. And I can't thank you guys enough. You guys are inspirational. You're brilliant. You're good looking, and it's easy on the eyes. And I've not been so I've never felt so vulnerable, but so empowered by being in your presence in my life. So
That's
thank you for this
beautiful.
opportunity. And I just want us to connect and do more things to help our world, because we are the good people. We are the good ones, and we are the leaders, and we cannot be quiet. We can't.
Absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And Narkie, just a heads up, I do plan to be at the gala this year. So
The
I know
MC
we're
is the
connecting, so
oh,
I'm
I'm so
very
happy.
possible
You're gonna
to
love it. The MC is the WRAL guy, Gerald Owens from the.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. So
I'm
yes, I
so
would
happy.
definitely.
Thank you. I hope you guys all come. I would be
I
so
love
honored.
galas.
Thank you.
What do you? Oh, there you go. We can all dress up. Hey.
Oh my God, I'd be so honored. We'll take pictures, and I'll have pictures for years to always use as my marketing. See how my brain is going.
Yeah, what you're doing is beautiful. And I love that you are helping the community in so many wonderful ways, especially our children. Earlier we were talking about the programming aspect. And it's one thing that I really want parents to understand is be very mindful, be very careful about what you have your child watch, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on TV, what have you, or even the people that they're exposed to, right? Because different families have different upbringings, and so they may be exposed to different things.
Exactly.
Nowadays, we have to just be careful and watch our own, right?
Really
Because
do.
a lot of those subliminal messages do transpire amongst friends, what have you. And I'm not saying that you have to be a certain way with parenting. You do parenting how you feel, but just food for thought as you evolve and grow, especially bringing our future leaders of our world. These are some of the things that we definitely need to be mindful of. And so with that in mind, Miss Narkie, thank you. You're doing amazing, wonderful things. And so in honor of Women's History Month, I did have a question. And Antoine, of course, you can definitely chime in from a male perspective. But, with so much that we all have going on as women, whether we're a mother or working a business, being an entrepreneur or being a daughter, an aunt, what have you. We have so many roles. What is one of the things that you would say, or some of the things that you would do or say to helps you pamper yourself, kind of reset yourself, whether it be mentally and or physically?
Me? Is this question for me?
This is actually for all of us, but I'll have you start. Yes.
Okay, well,
Yes.
I get in the hot tub. In my 20s, the best investment I ever bought after I got like my first good paycheck, I bought a hot tub. And so I do get in the hot tub pretty frequently. And I would advise anybody, if you want to save for something, that is something that is a gift that never stops giving. So when I have stressful evenings, you've been to my house, Yessie. We didn't get in the hot tub, but I do like to have time just to read a book. But I do want to say this. When you're in the hot tub, it's still easy to get sucked into using your phone and scrolling. So I really try to leave my phone in the house, and because mine's on the deck, and so I really just want to enjoy nature, soak, and just let all of this stuff from this world, get away from me. So that's what I do.
That is beautiful. Nadine or Sandra, what do you all do to reset?
I mean, I used to I'm laughing at myself because I have to get back into it, but I used to work out a lot. But I need to get back in the regime of working out a lot. But then also, when I go get my nails and feet done, I feel like a brand new person. So, I love doing that. Yes, exactly. Do you know what I mean, ladies?
Yes. I need that badly now.
Yes, and journaling too, like writing down your thoughts and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
That is awesome.
I think we're kind of getting some technical stuff. It was like frozen up for a moment there. But for me, getting grounded, just getting more, into that, so to speak, taking just that quiet time. I used to hide from my kids, because sometimes you just need peace and quiet.
Yeah,
I would go in my closet. That was a big walk-in closet, and I would just hide in there. They didn't know, Mom, and I'd just be quiet.
I remember those. When mom was 4, she would follow me to the bathroom. I mean, that stage.
Right, like, some things are off limits. Like, I just sit down. in my front yard, putting my feet in the grass, looking up, not looking directly at the sun, but just, looking in the, the general direction. Because when you close your eyes, right, when you're looking, the sun, the rays are coming, you'll see red, right? When your eyes are closed, you'll see red. And those rays, right, those things actually rejuvenate. And there's science behind this. The eye cells, right, in your body, in your within your retina and the cornea and the rods, all that stuff, right? Because the rods are for the night and the cones are for the light vision. But it's very, very rejuvenating. So just putting my hands down in the grass, my feet, just sitting there and just feeling the warmth from that, right? That's like one of the ways that I just kind of rejuvenate. And then, of course, just hiding from my kids in the closet.
Yeah. But hey, man, I listen. I got churned. I can tell you now. That's definitely something. They ain't even here right now. You know what I mean? Because I need y'all to get on somewhere. But I didn't. Were you finished? I didn't want to cut you off. One of the things that, as a man, I like to do. I'm big on accountability, right? But I like affirmations. I really like to talk to myself, reassure myself of some things, and assess myself in that mirror. You know what I'm saying? So I talk to Antoine. I get in that mirror, and I'll assess myself with what I've done, what have I done productive for the day or the week. You know what I'm saying? Assess what kind of mistakes have I made, and how did I handle it when I had to be held accountable? How did I process the mistakes that I made, and how am I going to learn to not make them anymore or move forward? I'm really big on that. So my thing is always getting to myself and assessing myself. That's why I was talking about earlier about that Michael Jackson's famous song, "Make That Change," because that's what he was talking about in that record, and a lot of that went over people's head. But when I was sent to prison, I really kind of that's where I honed in on that, because when I went in there, it was about it was everybody else's fault. I was blaming this person, that person, right? And then by the time I got out of there, I had assessed myself and knew that it was me. So now I know that whatever you have in your life, you're basically speaking it. I help people out with this all the time. Friends, like when I hear people talking about saying anything negative or anything about themselves, or like, oh man, this is messed up. It's like, I don't even like that kind of talk, because what you're going to do is you're going to talk yourself through it. I'm going to make it through it. Let's be solution based. All right. If we have any issues, okay, we can complain about it, but what are we going to do about it? You see what I'm saying? You think these things, speak it and live it, and watch things come to fruition. So once I started changing the way that I think and speak, everything started to elevate. So that's really how I kind of decompress by getting to myself and assessing myself. So when I come back out of that cocoon, I'm ready for the world, but also ready to spread that energy around, because you can't be around me if you're not trying to build up. I can't even rock with you, because we got to be vibrating at the same level. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things I like to do.
Positive people around you at all times.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. I love that. As for me, I do a little bit of similar to what you all shared. So I do a combination. So, Narkie, I don't have a hot tub yet. I'm investing in a hot tub. But what I do is I have a garden tub, and I fill it up in a nice little bubble bath. And then I have a really a soft spot for classical music, so I love to listen to Chopin and to Beethoven. So I just kind of dim the lights, I turn the candles on, I make myself a nice warm hot tub, and I just put that on and close my eyes and kind of just decompress and just breathe in and out, do a little bit of meditation. And then from there, I do also, similar to what you mentioned, Sandra, I go for absorb the vitamin D, right? And while I'm doing that, I also do positive affirmations. So I am amazing. I am wonderful. The I am affirmations, because you have to be your own cheerleader. If nobody else is cheering for you, you have to cheer for yourself. You have to believe in yourself. And I believe in myself and the that God gave me to be able to help other people, similar to what we have, all of us here today. We all have that similar gift, right? And so knowing that, and then also understanding what your purpose is. A lot of people don't understand their purpose. Each and every one of us here, you're watching today, listeners and viewers, we all have a purpose, but guess what? You have a purpose too. And if you haven't found your purpose, I highly, highly encourage you to find that, because trust me, you're going to feel so rewarded, so different about yourself in a good way, because you know that you have a purpose in life. We all do. It's just sadly a lot of people, for whatever reason, they just don't have the opportunity to find it. And I'm not sure why. Do you all know what it's all about? Like logically, I hear people like, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I'm here for.
Oh man,
have y'all heard that?
No.
Oh
I've
yeah.
heard it, and you know, it's very hard for me to respond to that, because I'm like, man, it's there. You got to tap into it. And you know, if some people are just gonna be like that, and if I see that I can't help you tap into it, I sure can't let you bring me down there with you. So you gonna stay down there. You know what I'm saying? You can stay down there, and I'm gonna stay up here, man. You know, so there's some, you know, I just hate to be like that, but sometimes, man, you know, when you're here, you can always go back down here. But this person can't just come up here with you. It's levels to this. So you don't want somebody to bring you back, you know, to pull you down. I don't like it down there. I like it up here up top where the good stuff happens. So
Yeah.
if you can't let me,
I'm raising my hand because I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of questioning my purpose in the past, you know, and that one up there, Miss Cece, the action, and she always have to remind me, like, girl, you know, you're good at this, you do this, you do that, and you know, and she just have to reel me back in, you know. So and now I know what my purpose is.
hey, listen, I'll tell you like this here. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to pick Nadine's brain because this is a good conversation too. And I'm so glad that you shared that with us. When you felt that way, when you didn't really understand yet at that time what your purpose was, what were you feeling? Like what had you in that mindset that you didn't understand?
Well, I don't know. I mean, for people that really know me, I mean, I've gone through a lot, you know, in my life growing up in the military. So sometimes I'm like, you know, what's really my purpose? You know, because you know, growing up, like I remember we were having a conversation. You had asked a question, I can't remember. I'll come back to it, but I it was a few minutes ago. You asked Narkie something, but I'm trying to remember. But anyway, like my dad, he told me that I would never make it in the military. So with that, that was like my fuel to keep going when I was going through things. That was his voice in my head that kept me going. So yes, as far as that, I can't really say pinpoint something specifically, but I know that there's several things in the past. Right now I'm fine, but in the past I usually question, you know, what my purpose is and all that things. But I know I've tapped into it. I mean, I know what I'm capable of, what I could do, and you know, I just, you know, want to motivate people and help them in what their purposes are.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with your journey and then CC helping you understand your purpose, how, it's one thing to hear it, to say, oh, you're good at this, you're good at that. How did you really self-identify yourself to say, yes, this is my purpose? And the reason why I'm asking that question is because there's so many people that are thinking the same way you thought back at that time in your life, right? What words of encouragement would you share with those individuals thinking similar to what you were point of your life and how they're thinking of today, to help them out of that mentality that we're all here for a purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. Because going back to Cece, when I had, I don't know, I didn't really share well, you know my story, Jesse. Yes, I told you. Cece, she basically, I think after my situation, after my miscarriage, that's when I started tapping into everything, because that's why I said to myself that baby was my guardian angel, because I knew nothing about entrepreneurship. I know nothing about business. And once I wrote that first book, everything started coming into play. Everything, I started tapping into things that I didn't know I was capable of doing, you know. And that's
Me too.
right.
Yeah.
So I started doing things. And the question you asked is when, you know, how do I know when people start asking me to do things that they're saying, oh, you know, Nadine, you're good at that. You're really good at that. And I have to do a self-reflect and say, yeah, I could do that, you know. So and I don't like to toot my own horn, so they always have to tell me, you know, like, because I'm a very humble person, whether people like to believe it or not. But I'm very humble. I know where I came from, and you know, I like to motivate people. I mean, sometimes people are scared to ask for help, or sometimes they're scared to get that no or whatever. But I mean, I'm always willing to lend a helping hand if I have, you know, the opportunity to do so.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. And Ms. Narky, similar to the question that I asked Nadine, when did you realize that Wakaboomee 501c3 and all the amazing things that you're doing today was actually your purpose? You know, sometimes people do it just because, I'm going to do it. But this is your purpose. I feel like this is your purpose. And what are your thoughts about that?
Ever since I was a kid, I was that weird kid who was putting on big plays in my backyard. I'd have everybody from the congregation in my backyard in folding chairs, and I had written lines for the 13-year-old and the 3-year-old from the congregation, you know? So that was my thing. My parents always were like, what is she going to do this year? Oh God, she's invited the whole congregation to our backyard. But they knew that that was kind of my thing. I like bringing all different types of people, all different ages together, and focused on like art, or focused at that time it was sharing Bible stories, you know, and making it funny and for kids. But I like bringing people together. That's my passion. And I know that we as humans have so much differences that make us feel like we don't have anything in common. But it amazes me that you can put a robot in front of somebody and everybody's just brown, white, doesn't matter, age, anything. They're all fascinated. How does that robot work? Oh, you went to school to do that? And it just unites people. So I like that feeling that it doesn't take too much work. We're all curious. We're all inventors, and we all like to figure out how things work and how to be entrepreneurs. We don't realize it, but we all want to figure out how to make something worth something. And so it's in us, and I love how bringing it people together can really make that just magic, you know.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
I wanted to chime in about the purpose thing because I know a lot of people have this question, and it's really super simple, y'all. Like the world has us so mixed up. It has everything misconstrued. It has everything being so complex and so convoluted, and it really, really isn't. You guys know I just keep it with the Holy Scriptures, right? So because everything else outside of that, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot, right? So in Ecclesiastes, and we know in this book, this is a very wise book. In this book, it can kind of get you a little down because it's like nothing matters. Everything is just right. So here, this is what it says, because I think people get purpose and, you know, some objectives and goals. They get these words mixed up or they use them interchangeably. We have goals and desires, right? That we things we want to have. And so a lot of times it's like, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to be this and I want to be that. And it's not your purpose. It has nothing to do with your purpose. It's not even your purpose. These are goals. These are objectives. These are things that you want to attain. They are desires. So hear me clearly on this. In Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, you can read a little bit more, but it says the whole story, right? It says this is the whole story, the final matter, the conclusion of the thing, your purpose, every person under the heavens. Every person that was created, because we know there's a higher being, whatever you choose to call that higher being, right? You were created, okay? There's something bigger than all of us. And it says here, the whole purpose of man's life, the whole purpose, okay? So let people know, and we all got the same purpose, is to fear God and obey his commands. For this is everyone's duty. It says that God will judge us everything we do, including every secret thing. So the people out there thinking that they're getting off, you know, scot-free, that, you know, no one's there, you know, checking the notes and, you know, writing it all down, you know, kind of being like Santa Claus. I don't believe, you know, Santa Claus ain't real, but I'm just saying, you know, just for, you know, visual effects, right? It says, including every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be bad. So the whole purpose and the duty of man is to fear God and to obey his commands. And the only way you can know what that is by reading the good word. Now, I know there are a lot of faiths and things out there of that nature, but I'm going to say it because I'm not ashamed. I believe in Jesus Christ. People call him Yeshua, Yahushua, all the other names, right? I believe in God Almighty, Alpha and Omega, right? The Most High God, all right? So you do whatever you want with that. But that is the whole duty and the whole purpose of man. Everything else, right, are the desires that we have. And we should have those desires. They are healthy, right? Look at yourself. You got to sit down and take, some interest inventories. And I like what Antoine was saying about how he gets in that mirror, man in the mirror, and he assesses himself. He sits down day by day and he says, okay, did I make any mistakes today? How can I be better tomorrow? That's what it takes for the growth. You're absolutely right in that, sir, when you're saying like you're at this level and then there's other people down here and they want to get to where you're at. They ain't went through all the stuff that you went through, because if they had to go through all the things that you went through, they'd be like, nah, bro, I'm good on that. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get on Yesie's team over here, because maybe she, maybe it was a little bit easier over here, okay? Maybe Dean over here, but then they get in Yesie's and they're like, oh no, you're even. Oh my god, you went through all this. No, let me go and check out Narkie Nartey. Okay, I like her name. We can see, and it's the walks are different, right? Because we're trying to fit shoes, right, that were never ever meant for us to feel, right? Because we have our own shoes, so we don't have to think about all of this purpose stuff. Sit down and assess, like Nadine was saying, the things that you're mostly hearing again and again, those repetitive kind of things, that's God trying to scream at you in a sense to say, look at this. This is what you're good at. But this is where people get confused at. That's not what they want to do, right? They don't want to do, like, I don't like that. But that's more than likely is what you were created to do. So walk in it, embrace it, because it's going to come easier that way. Right. It's going to come very, very easy that way. So I hope that sheds some light. I hope that helps some people out there, that are confused, because you're never ever meant to be confused. And when you start becoming confused, you definitely have to know that that's not the creator that created you for you to live in confusion. Right. He gave us a sound mind, right? A sound mind to make very specific. He's a God of specificity, not of, oh, I don't know, maybe so, maybe not. No. He deals in the exact target. So exactly how he made you, created you, you were perfect because you were made in the image and the likeness of him. And it don't get no better than that. It don't get no better than that. So
yes, beautiful.
Okay, and we're gonna pass around the offering. Okay, we're gonna
beautiful. Yes, I love it.
That was good. I needed that.
Yes, walk in your purpose. That is right. Walk in your purpose, and yes, he broke it down. Yeah, definitely.
That is beautiful. That's a good segue to pivot over to our last minute words. This is the opportunity for each and every one of us to toot our own horns, like Nadine would say. She doesn't do enough of, so she gets to do it right now. Toot our own horns. Where can people find you? Social media, websites, any upcoming events, any food for thought, quotes, whatever it is that you want to say. This is your opportunity right now. Any takers on who wants to lead the last minute segment?
Let's let our special guest go first, Narkie Nartey.
Okay.
Yes, Ms. Nice of you. Thank you. Well, I hope you guys are on LinkedIn. I really am active on LinkedIn under Narkie Nartey, Narkie, last name Nartey. And then I'm also on there with interns helping out with the Wakaboomee program. So you can look up the Wakaboomee program on LinkedIn and Narkie Nartey. And then on Instagram, Wakaboomee 2016. You'll find us. We put out a lot of flyers and events and different community opportunities there. And Facebook, the Wakaboomee program again. If you look that up there, we're not active so much on Twitter. We do have a YouTube page, but it needs help. And we need help with TikTok. But we've got interns from NC State and a new girl, Daria. So things are going in the right direction. Again, I thank you guys for letting me be on here. This was the best experience. You made my whole week, my whole month, my year. So thank you for this. And I feel empowered because of each and every one of you. And I'm going to tell everybody about this too.
Yeah, definitely.
Is your event listed on the LinkedIn page?
My email is listed. Yes.
No, the event that's coming up.
Oh yes, it's constantly listed, and they're Eventbrite link to do get your tickets and be a sponsor. It's all there.
Great.
Beautiful. Who is next?
Yeah, so I'm Sandra, the Actionist. Oh, go ahead, Nadine. You got it, girl.
Okay, so I'm Nadine Barton, author, entrepreneur, 24 years Navy veteran. You could definitely find me on Facebook here, Nadine Barton, my name as it is, and on Instagram, Nadia B, NADIAB _1202. Also have a blog page, Blog with Nadine. If you want to look at my latest topics, I need to write some more topics. So if you guys want to present me with some new topics, I could definitely, keep busy in doing that. And I'm also on LinkedIn, my name as it is, and Nadine Barton. And there you have it. That's my links for you to find me, for you to follow me, and I'll do the same. And my favorite quote is always, this has taken me in the military and now, life is 10% of what happened to you and 90% how you react. So that used to be my signature on all my emails. So I mean, going through a lot of different struggles, you just have to take a step back and say how you want to react to the situation today. So I've always used that quote, and it's by Charles Swindle, I believe. Charles Swindle, yeah.
Nice. And so, hey, I'm your girl, Sandra, the Actionist with Inspire for Purpose. You can find me there at inspireforpurpose.com. I too am on LinkedIn. You will find me under Sandra, the Actionist, so you'll see me there. My quote, right, what I always love to say is, nothing positive ever came from negative thinking, right? And so with Inspire for Purpose, I just want to leave you this: love and light and inspire for purpose.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
Get into it. Okay. All right. Well, Antoine Wright, editor-in-chief of the 3-time award-winning publication, Apex Couture Magazine. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram. We are on Twitter. It get real political on Twitter. I love that. We are on Facebook and, most social media platforms, but I'd say just Google Apex Couture Magazine and you'll see a deep history of our work. You can find articles, you can find our website, you can find out when you can purchase the magazine. We also have clothing store, Sea Line Apparel here in Orlando, Florida, in the West Oaks Mall. We have 2 units in there now. And I would say, I just say, think it, say it, do it. It's really simple. If you speak life, you're going to have life. You speak death, that's what you're going to have. What you have in your life is a result of what you've been saying. I'm going to tell you that again. What you have in your life is a result of what you've been saying. So you need to start changing the way you think and the way you speak. And I promise you, you'll see a change in your life.
Wow, that's good. Yes, see, I didn't even give a quote. I didn't know I was supposed to do a quote. I'm sorry, I missed that.
No, you're good. Go for it. Say your quote if you have one. You don't have to. I was just, an idea.
Okay. I felt like, oh crap, I didn't do that. But I will tell you, the quote for me was, who am I to be beautiful? Who am I to be fabulous? Who am I not to be? I'm not going to do the whole thing, but it's by Marianne West. But it basically just says, we are so incredible, and we have to, lean into that and recognize our worth. Because it's nothing incredible about like shrinking back so that no one else can hear about your talents and your great attributes. We have to let our light shine, because that light is in all of us. I'm paraphrasing a quote. So I just wanted to be a part of it. But yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. Absolutely. I love it. Yes. So I want to say a big thank you to our viewers and our listeners. Thank you so much, Miss Narkie Nartey, for being our special guest. Amazing story. Thank you to my co-host, Sandra, the Actionist, Nadine Barton, and our visiting co-host, Antoine Wright. Yes. And also, we can't forget our sponsors. So Miss Sandra and Miss Nadine are sponsors of Oyandia TV, in addition to Collective Wear and Divine Beauty and Accessories. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Sponsored by Collective Wear. Sponsored by Divine Beauty and Accessories. Watch Oyandia TV Thursdays 7:30 p.m.
And for those who want to be a sponsor on Oyandia TV, we welcome you with open arm. We do have sponsor packages available. So simply email oyandiatv@gmail.com. It is scrolling at the bottom of the page, oyandiatv@gmail.com. Subject line, I want to be a sponsor. And then we can communicate back and forth and we can go from there. Also, if you have an interesting topic, business you want to promote, we also welcome you with open arms. We are booked out right now till July, which is a beautiful thing. But we can definitely fit you in sometime in the future. So definitely reach out to us if you want to be a guest on Oyandia TV. We're always here. As you can see, we have really deep food for thought conversation because that is the goal of Oyandia TV, to motivate, enlighten, inspire, educate, and entertain you, the viewer and listener, with each and every episode, helping you see when you think of something negative, how can you see it from a positive perspective? Changing that lens to see the good from what you think is actually bad, but it's really not. It's helping you grow, evolve as a person, and also help you find your purpose, like we were talking about today. And yes, for those who want to know more about me, Yessie Rodriguez, want to find me. Very simple. Just go on Google, Internet Explorer, Safari, whichever your favorite browser is. YESSE Rodriguez. It'll pull me up. You'll find my social media handles. I am on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I have a website, yessierodriguez.com. And it also has a little bit bio about my work. So yeah, that's who I am, Yessie Rodriguez. Also, ending quote for those who, another food for thought, right? So back in the day, and I know my co-hosts already heard this, and they're probably like, yes, but back in the day, we heard that song from Biggie Smalls, Sky's the Limit. And when I heard that song, it made me cringe a little bit because I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know if the sky's the limit. So I did a little bit of research, right? And have you all heard of the Kármán line? If you haven't, it's an internationally recognized boundary between Earth's atmosphere and outer space. It's an altitude of 100 kilometers, which is equivalent to 62 miles, which is above the sea level. It is defined by Theodor von Kármán, a Hungarian-American engineer and physicist, who determined that at this altitude, the atmosphere becomes too thin for conventional aircraft to generate sufficient aerodynamic lift, meaning that the objects must rely on orbital velocity to stay afloat. So what did this all mean? You're probably asking, like, Yessie, why are you throwing all this at me? Because I'm telling you this. Please stop from saying the sky's the limit. Please. Because you're technically, subliminally, like we were talking about earlier in the show, you're programming yourself to set a boundary, right? So I'm helping you think differently. The sky is never the limit because the galaxies are endless. It's a quote that I created back in 2011. The sky is never the limit because the galaxies are endless. Thank you all for tuning in to Oyandia TV. Until next time.